are 10 groups of 60 cents. You can count by 10 60 times, or you can remember every multiple of 10 moves you over place value to the left. So 60 is 6 tens. So 6 tens times 10 groups would become 60 tens. Every group of 10 tens can be traded for 100. So 60 tens is the same as 6 hundreds. 60 times 10 can also be represented by 60 $10 bills. Remember, 6 $10 bills makes $60. So now imagine that there are 10 groups of $60. You can count by 10 60 times, or you can remember that every multiple of 10 moves you over one place value to the left. 60 is 6 tens, so 6 tens times 10 groups would become 60 tens, which is the same as 6 hundreds. 6 times 10 can also be represented by 6 tens rods. Remember that each tens rod is equal to 10 ones. 6 groups of 10 is the same as 60 units. Multiplying by multiples of tens follows the same process. 60 times 10 can be represented by 10 groups of 6 dimes. Now rearrange the groups into piles of 10 dimes. You should have grouped the 60 dimes into 6 piles of 10 dimes. 10 dimes makes 100 cents. So 6 piles of 10 dimes becomes 600 cents. 60 times 10 can be represented by 10 groups of 6 $10 bills. Now rearrange the groups into piles of $10 bills. You should have regrouped the 60 $10 bills into 6 piles of $10 bills. $10 bills make $100. So 6 piles of $10 bills becomes $600. 6 times 10 can be represented by 10 groups of 6 tens rods. Now rearrange the groups into piles of 10 tens rods. You should have regrouped the 60 rods into 6 piles of tens rods. 10 tens rods makes 100 units. So 6 piles of 10 tens rods becomes 600 units. Great job! I think you're ready to answer a practice question on your own. What is 80 times 4? Think of it as 80 groups of 4, or 4 groups of 80. Is it A, 320, B, 32, C, 84, or D, 80? Now, use dimes, $10 bills, and tens rods to help you multiply by 10. Any of these materials can be used to count by 10. Then answer the following question. 9 times 10 equals 90. Is the answer true or false? Be sure to view the Read It in order to check your answers for those questions. You should now understand how to multiply by multiples of 10 by using place value strategies. Great job today, students!
we are going to get back to the PowerPoint, which follows along with your iReady Math textbook. So these 2 pages are your family letter, which is your introductory letter, which tells you what the lesson is about and what you're going to be learning this week. So it pretty much tells your mom or your dad or your grandmother or whoever that this week we're going to be using place value to multiply. It explains what we're doing, and then over here it gives you a little activity you can do at home. So this is on page 209 and 210 of your iReady Math textbook. But now we're going to begin in session 1, and we're going to explore how to use place value to multiply. This first slide is just a start slide. It's not going to be found in your math textbook. So it says use base 10 blocks to model each group of tens. Then write the value of the block. So we're going to use base 10 blocks. We're going to draw them to show each group of tens. So we have 6 tens. So how many base 10 blocks am I going to draw? Correct, 10. So 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one has 14 tens. So how many base 10 blocks am I going to draw? Good, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So now what can I do to figure out what is the value of each of those blocks? Good. I can skip count by 10. So we're going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So that is 60. Here, let's do it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140. What do we notice about that they have in common? That we only added a 0 at the end of each number. So when we multiply by 10 and we say 10, we just need to add a 0 at the end of the number. Good. So now we're going to read a problem. This problem can be found on page 211 of your math textbook. It says, there are 4 stacks of books on a table. Each stack has 20 books. How many books are there in all? So what is the problem about? Correct, it's about books. What are we trying to find out? I always like to underline what we're trying to find out. We're trying to find out how many books there are in all. And what information is important? What information is important? Good, the 2 numbers. We have 4 and 20. Okay, so now we've made sense of the problem. We've asked those questions to think about what the problem is asking us to do and what it is about. So now we can try to solve the problem. We are going to try and solve it. So it says there are 4 stacks of books on a table. Each stack has 20 books. How many books are there in all? So what is a way that we could do this? We could draw 4 stacks of 20. So let's do that. We have 1 stack, 2 stack, 3 stack, 4 stack. And we have 20 in here, right? This is all 20. So each one of these are 20. Now we need to add them together, correct? Because we're in all. So now we need to add them together. So 20 plus 20 is 40. 40 plus 20 is 60. And 60 plus 20 is 80. So there are 80 books in all. We could also just say 20 plus 20 plus 20 equals 80. There are more ways that we could do this, but this is the one way that we are going to talk about it. We're also going to add one more way. The way I would have done it is I would have put 2 for each of my stacks. I would have drawn, sorry, my squares are horrible. I would have drawn 2 base 10 blocks each one. No, there's a square, but it's okay. You know what I'm drawing. And I would have skip counted. I would have said 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So there are 80 books in all. That's how I would have done it. But now we're going to keep going. And you're going to talk to a neighbor, or you can talk to yourself and ask, why did I choose this strategy? So I knew blank, so by 10, which is what I like to do, because skip counting by 10 is easy for me. So I'll say 10, 20, 30, 40. What comes after 40? Good. We have 50. What's after 50? 60. What's after 60? 70. And then what's after 70? 80. So let's make sure. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Good. We could also skip by 20 how many times? If we skip count by 20, how many times will we skip count by 20? 4. Good. Now, so it would be 20. This would be 20, 20, 40, 60. What would this last one be? 80. Correct the moon bill. Good job. Now it says you could count by groups of 10. So you have 2 tens, 4 tens, 6 tens, 8 tens. What is 8 tenths? Like we learned previously, when we wrote out 6 tenths or 14 tenths, that word 10 means that you could add a 0 at the end. So you would have 8 zeros, so 80. Good job. Now we're going to reflect. Do you think skip count and counting on would work well with greater numbers such as 8 times 80? Explain. It would be harder, okay? So would work well with greater numbers? I say no, because it's hard. With 80 being such a big number. What we could do, though, to solve it, is that we could show 8 groups of 80 blocks and skip count by tens, but that would still take a long time. So multiplying 8 times 80 and using skip counting or counting on would take a long time. Okay, so I would say no. Now we have our vocabulary. What we're going to do here is we're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to use the word skip count. Since we talked a lot about this, we're going to put skip count in here. Okay, we're going to put skip count. What is skip counting? Good, it's counting by a number other than 1. So we can skip count by 2s, by 3s, by 4s, by 6s, by 10s, by 20s, by 30s. Good. What do you know about it? I can skip count to solve a multiplication problem. Good. What are some examples of skip counting? We can skip count by 5s. We can go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on. Okay. We could also skip count by tens. So you could say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I'm going to write that up underneath 10, 20, 40, 50. We could also skip count by, let's say, 2s. We would have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay, so we'd have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We can say that 2 times 1, 2, 6, 7 equals 14. Those are some ways that we can skip count. Oh, sorry, I scrolled ahead. Alright, so now what you're going to do is you're going to complete today's independent work found in Schoology under the Wednesday tab. And we will see you tomorrow for the rest of this week's lesson.